will start with a prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear wise and loving Father, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of serving the community. I pray you give us wisdom to govern, a sense of the true needs of our residents, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony. I pray for the agenda set before us tonight. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our village of Hicksville. It is in your most blessed name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming tonight. It's nice to see a nice group of residents again tonight. I would like someone to make a motion to approve the amended agenda. Cheryl thought of several things today that she just learned about that we need to cover tonight.
Roll call first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call. Thank you.
Baker?
Here.
Mark?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Jones?
Here.
Kretsky?
Here.
Thank you.
You were doing the agenda, we're doing roll call. Right.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'll approve the agenda as changed.
Ron Jones made the
I'll
motion
second.
to approve the amended agenda, and Mike Headley seconded. Roll call, please.
Mark?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Kretsky?
Yes.
Jones? Beverly?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes. Thank you. You had in your council packet the August 1st council meeting minutes. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add or correct? And if you do not, I would entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Mike Barth and Ron Jones made the motion to approve the August 1st council meeting minutes. Roll call, please.
Kretsky?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Baker?
Yep. Thank you. You have the approved bills list in your packet. Does anyone have any questions about any of the bills that are on the list?
I have a question on pool concessions. That buys the food, but then where's the money go, proceeds? I guess I never did that.
You can answer that.
The what? Okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
We have a line that's full concessions.
Okay. Okay. I never see that coming back in. I was just curious, but it's there. Yeah, that's the reason I was asking. Okay. One thing I got.
Any other questions about any bills on the list?
I would second Ron's motion to pay the bills.
Roll call, please.
Beverly?
Yes.
Mark?
Abstain.
Baker?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Kretsky?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Okay. You were notified that on August 18th at 5 p.m. in the council chambers, there's going to be a public hearing to discuss rezoning on Antwerp Drive from agricultural to residential. You have minutes from the August 11th public hearing regarding the Oscar Street lot split in the packets that passed. I can't hardly pronounce that. Any questions about that lot split? Okay. We now will have Mary Wan come to the podium to speak to council about a problem that she's having.
My name is Mary Wan. I live at 412 Spencerville Street, and we have a problem. There's a house between my house and my son's house. It's 410 Spencerville Street with rats. So far, in 2 years, the lady who owns that house lives in Fort Wayne. Anyway, a little over 2 weeks ago, I had notified her to let her know if she could do something. We went outside that morning, and there was a dead rat. I have a 4.5-year-old granddaughter and 2 one-year-old twins. I am not letting them outside to play with all sorts of animals. We've seen cats, dogs, squirrels, skunks, and now rats. So anyway, I did try to contact her. She never came back at me. I came up here and they told me to contact Mike Bailey, so the zoning inspector. So I did go over there and he was gone, but he did call me. He came over to the house with a village employee, checked the foundation and everything, seen the rat, and said he would get a hold of her to see what was going on. So anyway, supposedly within 2 weeks, something maybe would be done. A gentleman was there yesterday afternoon. I was outside, and he was notified by Sam Murphy, and he was just supposed to fill in the holes in the foundation. Anyway, when he got in there, and I told him that there's all sorts of animals was going in and out, he got almost to the hole, and you could see garbage, plastic bags, and the smell from the urine was so bad. And he asked how long it's been empty. I said almost 2 years. So anyway, what's going to happen is when they're out in the fields, they're going to start running, and then winter they're going to be looking for someplace warm. It's either going to be coming over towards my house or my son's house. And furthermore, you got children going back and forth, going to school, going down to the bus stop. What happens if a cat runs over there and bites one of them children with rabies? I mean, even blocking the holes, is that really going to make it right? Because, okay, the holes get blocked, but there is other little holes. If they want out, they're going to find a way out. We're not getting nowhere. I want something done.
Mike Bailey's not here, I believe, right? I don't see him,
I
but...
called him twice today. He
Okay.
went out to lunch.
Well, I had a conversation with Mary on the phone today, and I explained to her that Mike has been on top of that. And so I checked my notes, because Mike, every time Mike had contact with Lisa, he emailed me the pictures of the foundation with the holes in the broken window. I saw those. He sent them to me on July 25th. He sent me an email on August 1st saying he spoke with the resident about it, and she had contacted a contractor to get it repaired. And then Lisa emailed the zoning inspector on August 4th with what she thought was going to get done by a contractor. So just to tell council, she is filling in the foundation holes, which you verified just now also, that you were told by the contractor. I don't know what to tell her is going to happen if there's critters locked in the house. I mean, I don't know what you do about that, but I told her that
It's been
the health
years.
department will do something if there's animals visibly seen around the property. And yes, the picture that Mike sent me did have a dead rodent in one of the pictures laying in the landscaping. So what Mary says is true. Yes.
The house to the west of me, right beside me, Dave Ilo's old house, wasn't Dave's, it was somebody else's, had, after it was repossessed, there were mice. You could look in the window and they were in there having parties and dancing and stuff. I mean, terrible. I mean, thousands. And I got a hold of Craig at the health department. And Craig come down and took a look. And just a couple of days later, he had a extermination company there and took care of it.
Well, I'm trying to be nice, like
Yeah.
I said. And
It's nice that you started out talking to Lisa herself. That's usually what we try to do, is get neighbors to talk to neighbors. And as I told Mary today, the health department will step in if there's critters involved. So hopefully this will get taken care of. But like I said, after they're locked in, I don't know what will happen.
like I said, once you fill them holes, that's fine, but now you got the animals inside the house. Eventually, they're going to find a way out. Then what? We're not getting anywhere, but that's not going to solve the problem.
Did you call the
And-
health
And
department?
she has said
she hasn't.
last year she was going to clean it up this year. okay? And that's never happened.
Okay.
I know when I talked to you at the store today, you said you was gonna call the health department.
I
And
did.
that's what he said he did, so.
I did, but like it was 20 after 4 when I called and they closed at 4:30, nobody answers the phone. So I will do it tomorrow
Yeah.
morning.
I
Okay.
got good results from them.
I just, like I said, I don't want nobody to get hurt. I'm not trying
Sure,
to be.
yeah. Well, no one wants to live beside rats and rodents, I can tell you that, so.
What's the address again of the house? 410.
410
Yeah.
Spencerville Street. I live on one side and my son Corey lives on the other side. All right, thank
So,
you.
yeah,
Craig Richards is the name of the person that Rob
Yep.
is referring to. He's like the head sanitarian or whatever. That's probably who you should ask.
Okay.
They're easy to get along with. They'll help you out.
All right, thank you.
yep. Thanks, Mary, good luck. Okay, let's see here. The next,
One thing to say about that. I live at 315 Chicago Avenue.
state your name, please.
My name's Todd Kreitz. I live with my parents at 315 Chicago Avenue. Last year, for some reason, the dogs kept getting out. We didn't know what it was. They got a small Yorkie and a Maltese.
Are we talking about the same residence? Okay.
I'm right across the street from Mary on the back side of her, on the other side of the road. And there's been holes dug on the back side of the fence. Out here where the dogs can't even get to. They've dug through and came under so the dogs can get out now. We filled it in twice last year. We haven't had the problem this year. We filled it in twice. Every hole that was there, we filled it in, and then beginning of this year, the hole is still about 3 feet away from it, in the same place. And we haven't had no rats. We haven't found no dead rats, nothing like that. But whatever's getting to the back side of the hole and the back side of the fence come inside our fence,
Okay.
I can't say it's a rat, but it could be like anything. It's not a groundhog. Groundhogs dig holes clear underground. They just go under the top of the fence and go under.
Okay. Well, maybe when the health department comes to check it out, maybe you'll be aware that they're around and can.
We have the spots where we covered up with dirt,
Okay.
and the grass is missing, so you can see them.
Okay. All righty. Thank you. All
Yep.
right. We're going to skip down to number 11 on the agenda. You all had a letter table tonight, if you had a chance to read it before the meeting. It's what that pertained to. Architectural Review Committee, or Architectural Review Board met this morning. There are minutes on the desk. Let's see here. Did you put those in my order of my packet? Okay. So, Kent, is there, since I haven't read them, is there anything that you can report to council on that, Kent, that anyone might be interested in?
The board granted variance, the Gordon Creek granite to store their granite pieces outside.
Okay.
Display pieces. Yeah, display pieces.
Is there any stipulations in there where it'll look nice instead of what they got there? What they got there is not nice.
We talked about that some more. Right now, we're on both sides of the street. It's gone up. But anyway, we gave variance. We talked probably, what, half hour about it? Half hour.
Did you also, it looks like you, did you see the plans for his new steel building? I mean, was that?
He's got all that,
Is-
it's on it defined, so he didn't.
But the Architectural Review Committee does look at that
Yes.
also, right? So that would be a later item?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you for doing that. So, going on, council committee reports. Pardon me?
That's sidewalk.
You may.
Okay. Sidewalk Committee consists of me, Mick Prokraski, and Ron Beverly. And we met today. Mick was absent. And we want to get things underway, get them fixed, get things rolling. People are tripping and falling, and they are bad. So we're going to go back to the original ordinance. some people are going to be getting letters to have them maintained. And we're going to stick with it. We're going to enforce it. That was one of my deals with getting on council, is to finish some things that had been started and not finished. And sidewalks is a big thing. It's important for your kids going to school, everybody walking. So I just wanted to let you know that we're going to start maintaining them.
And I have heard about several falls on the sidewalks this summer, so I personally am 100% behind the sidewalk committee of getting these sidewalks fixed up so they're safe for people to walk on. It's going to cost the residents some money, because the way it was in the 90s when we fixed up all of the sidewalks, we did it by quadrant. And the people were sent a notice, which is the way it will be again, and you will be given a certain period of time to get your sidewalks repaired. And if you don't do it in that period of time, the village will come in and find a contractor and put out bids and do them all at once to get them all in order, and then it will be assessed to your property taxes. And I can tell you from past years that it is less expensive for you to get them done yourself by a contractor, because when we do it, we have to pay prevailing wage to, top dollar to the contractors to do all the work. Some of them might be a simple fix of lifting them up and leveling them out.
A lot of them are that way.
And I don't mean to take over your committee's conversation.
No, I'm just...
But I just want you to know that, you need to be thinking about that, because if you get just get it taken care of yourself, that will probably be your simplest route to do and least expensive. And some people know friends or family members that can do sidewalks and are talented enough to do that, but there also is a building permit required that costs $1. And, and we have a zoning inspector that needs to be involved in that process to make sure that they're done correctly. So if you have any questions about that, or you, Sheila's made a whole list, I believe, we've got quite a list of things that we think might need repaired. And so if you have doubts, you can always contact the zoning inspector, and he will check it out for you and tell you if you have a problem or not.
And I do apologize for missing that meeting. Ron, you're the other one on there? You two agreed to this? What about the subdivisions, the other homes that don't have sidewalks? That were never forced to put them
We're
in?
repairing what we have right now.
What
We're
about the
starting
other
here.
What about the other ones?
We're starting here, Mick.
People are being forced to put in sidewalks twice before other people are being forced to put in any.
We have some pictures and stuff of the expansions that are going to take place, but we just want to get it so that we can safely walk again, and then the chairman of the committee she's ready to go.
On all areas, even the ones who...
Eventually.
I still know, I think there are people who are going to be forced to put in multiple sidewalks before other people are asked to put in any. I don't think it's fair.
Have you...
If you go over this list, Mick, and of course I'm not a rocket scientist, I can't make sure where every house is completely, but having done a lot of those when I was in business 20 years ago when we did that, there's not very much repetition here, very little repetition.
Okay.
So I don't think that's going to be a problem or develop into a problem. I really don't.
What about, was there any discussion at all about the sidewalks that were raised up by the trees on the village property, on the easement, between the sidewalk and the road, the village trees?
That's just...
I mean, they're the village trees.
Well, that's sort of a misnomer. They're ours to maintain if they become a danger, but we do not own them. They are still a homeowner's responsibility.
So at that point, the homeowner cuts tree down?
You have to get permission
Where do you get permission from?
from the village. We don't own them.
When two
There's a
trees...
difference between
And that's another thing
ownership
that...
and responsibility.
When two trees were cut down in front of my house, the city came along and took them without me having a say-so what was going to happen to them. I don't understand that.
Like if they're in the easement area and they pose a danger, if they're dead or if they're in danger of a limb falling down out in the road or whatever, the village has the obligation in order to keep keep this road safe, or the side, safe there, to trim those trees and or cut them down if they're dead, because they're in the easement area. And so, let's say let's say they didn't do that.
It belongs to the city then.
It doesn't belong to the city, it's in the easement area, but
It doesn't make sense to me.
They have the rights to it. The city
we
has
have
the
legal
rights.
responsibility for it. So if a tree out in front of your house, a big limb, it was dead or whatever, and the whole tree or big limb fell down and landed on some car that was driving through, potentially could be the village that was getting sued, because we have an obligation, since it's there in our right-of-way. That's what you mean by the easement. It's actually in the right-of-way for the road. And so we have an obligation to keep that free, no different than if there was a spot in town where we had a bunch of street signs that were up, but it was blocking an intersection and somebody didn't see a stop sign and ran it, somebody could look at us that way. So that's why we have the right, or the obligation, to keep an eye on those things and trim them up or remove them if they're dead, but they're not, they still belong to the property owner.
And the same thing with your sidewalk. You own your sidewalk. You own from the sidewalk out to the curb, right?
Right.
But the city has rights to come in and tear it up. And I think they replace it if, don't they? Isn't that correct?
Yes, I want to make sure we've had the question come up. Well, we don't want our sidewalk, we don't want to repair a sidewalk because you're going to come along and put new sewers in, and it could damage our sidewalk. But if we do a water or sewer dig and we damage a sidewalk, we replace the square or the section that we damaged. We don't repair your whole bad sidewalk, we'll repair what we damaged. So for those people who are wondering about that, not wanting to fix their sidewalks because they think we're going to dig them up with the sewer, we will replace any sidewalks we damage during a sewer dig.
But right now, as the list that Mike has is not anything that is going to be on Antwerp Drive, the dig they're going to do, I think. But that'll be down the middle of the road anyways. That has nothing to do with your sidewalk.
I tried my best to get out of the tree business, but Troy won't let us. I want to get rid of them, period, and let homeowners take care of it. They're a pain in the neck.
And expensive.
Well, yeah.
And, and with Kent saying that too, I'm one of the big tree proponents, and I know I like to see tree-lined streets. If Kent comes along to put a tree in front of someone's house, and you really don't want one, you can tell him that. And
Quite a bit last year.
yeah, he did have some people tell him that, but, I myself don't think you can beat seeing some nice trees around town now. My husband would cut them all down. That's just me.
Well, I guess,
What do you guys define as quadrants? Like, say, on Chicago Avenue, there's a sidewalk on one side of the road, and there's another sidewalk on the other side.
When we originally did the town in quadrants, we took like West High Street over
We
to,
split it Main and High.
right, Main and High,
Number the coordinates.
If you
know.
have a sidewalk on the other side of the road, the sidewalk's not going to charge property tax.
No, they won't have anything to replace.
There's nothing to replace.
We're only repairing right now.
Yep.
That's not to say in the future, we have had people that want sidewalks put in out some areas, and, that's what stopped us dead in its tracks years ago, because,
This is something that's been let go for many years.
Yeah.
Many
I
years.
understand that.
Many. And we just got to do it.
I guess for Kent's benefit, while we're talking about the trees, because I know he gets these calls, we have the obligation on those trees out in the easement areas, but trees that aren't in the easement area that are just on private property, that maybe a limb is overhanging into your neighbor's property or things like that, the village doesn't have any right or any obligation to go onto private property where they don't have an easement for that purposes to trim trees or to cut them. I know he gets calls every now and then from people that, well, you guys are responsible for the trees. You come out and trim my neighbor's tree because his branch is hanging over my driveway, and I'm afraid that's depending on where the tree's located, but if it's on the private property, not in the easement area, that's just a matter between neighbors.
Thank you. All right, do we have any council committee reports?
Oh, before we go any further, are there quadrants set up now? And is there a time frame? Does it have to be done next week, or are people going to be getting 6 months?
Going to send out letters.
How much time?
Going to go with the exact same dates
same
that we did
ordinance.
last time.
Okay.
And Mike has to go around and check all those addresses himself first,
Okay.
so it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
Probably gonna find a lot more that need repair, because under the ordinance as it exists, if you got a hole in the sidewalk the size of a quarter, it's gotta be replaced. I just think it's gonna get really ugly.
Well,
We went through this
Last time.
before.
I was here.
You know, people were used to it, they got used to it, and then we dropped the ball, and the sidewalks were wonderful.
I got one more thing. I live in Chicago, good.
Up to the podium, please.
All right, I'll do that. That's fine. Ron Kreitz, I live in Chicago Avenue. Westwood addition, when they put the new addition in, on both sides of that sidewalk, it's cracked. And it sticks about that far up on both sides of it. And I got kids that ride the bikes down the road,
Yeah.
ride their power wheels, ride scooters. And I've ended up with my nephew. He got a busted nose because he hit that bump and fell over and smacked his nose on the ground.
Oh, that's probably on the list.
is it your sidewalk?
Westwood addition.
But is it
Not
your
my
sidewalk?
I live on the opposite side of the road.
You don't have a
He
sidewalk.
has no
I
sidewalk.
don't have a sidewalk.
Okay.
That's why I asked, is somebody gonna get charged that money to put the sidewalk on the other side of the road? If you guys have to do it, it's not gonna go to property taxes, because we don't have sidewalk.
We're not doing it. The
No, the
village isn't paying for this, are they?
when the village has to repair a sidewalk, it is charged to the property taxes of that
Right, but that side of the
resident.
road's gotta pay for it.
Only the house where they fix the sidewalk.
All right.
Only that house is assessed for the repairs that we had to do.
Right.
Not the whole town, only that house.
If they refuse to do it, the city.
Yeah, if they don't pay us, yeah.
Thank you, Mick.
Some people will go ahead and pay us off and we don't, so.
All right.
Thank you. All right, so I would like to ask the Finance Committee, if Cheryl Smith hasn't asked you already, to have a meeting, because as you can see in the council packet, there was some state audit citations made recently to some surrounding areas, as there are all the time, but I do note that since I left that position, the state auditor's office really is holding the council and the finance committee in particular extremely accountable for any problems in whether it's the annual financial statement or any misspending of money or any incorrect recordings of money. So I think you guys need to meet with Cheryl and go over all the revenue. I know when it was me, we just looked at the expenses and you guys didn't worry about the revenue, but, you know, I hate to tell you, but I think you need to have a meeting and let Cheryl catch you up on everything, just so we got it on the record.
We just had an audit, so everything was okay then.
Yeah, but.
Down the road.
But that was through December 31st. You know, we're in August, so probably ought to check things out.
Well, it'd be quarterly to audit the book.
Well, it's a lot more than just auditing the bank statements like you did with me.
Sometime
It's more detailed than that.
in the near future? All right.
Jack Staley type.
Yeah, Jack Staley type, yeah. All right,
We'll do it.
thank you.
If I could say something real quick, Diane,
Yes.
Water Sewer scheduling a meeting, I think, tentatively on August 29th, upcoming, not next, well, not the fair Monday, the Monday,
On
2
Monday
weeks
night?
out of there.
Okay,
Monday
the
night.
29th.
And I also want to address Ogen Street's separation project is going to start hopefully this week. They're going to be back there starting back on the Boone and Crook Streets. So that is kind of the entrance to the fairgrounds back in those areas. They're not near the fairground entrance, but people need to be patient. Contractors know what's going on. It's Bryan Excavating. They know the fair's starting also this week, so we ask everybody to be patient and let them do their work and let people get into the fair.
Thank you for that heads up.
They won't be on pier.
Right, right.
Next, we're at the administrator's report. Kent, can you fill us in on everything you know?
First off, the AEP rebate check, that did show up in the mail today. $5,726. The second part on here, I think most everybody knows by now, but Ron Daniels is retiring effective October 1st. He's currently the sewer superintendent, so my plan at this point is when he is done, gets to move Jeff up into that position since he has his Class 2. And so rather than ads now to fill the soon-to-be vacant position there, so I've got somebody ready to step in. Along the same lines, the cleaning, part-time cleaning situation, I think you do need to get somebody hired until we see long-term how it works out with Letitia. So those ads will be showing up in the Tribune starting this week. And then just a couple things on trash. First one's a reminder to the residents to please not put syringes in their trash unless they're in some sort of container. Back on August 3rd, one of the guys was picking up a bag and there was a nice sharp needle laying right on top. So if you just put them in a closed container or something, it's going to avoid somebody getting injured, because we don't know what's going to be on that syringe. And then just in general, I know it gets brought up every time we get close to general pickup, CCNO, all the situation that they're going through, we've not had any bodies since May. I don't look for that to change between now and the end of the year, although the person that I normally deal with said he's going to do his best to get us a couple bodies for the next general pickup there in September. But long term, I think we're going to have to, plan on not having those extra helpers. I don't care if the committee wants to discuss it or how you want to do this, but I think before too much longer, we might need to revisit trash pickup in general. The tonnage keeps going up and up and up. I don't want to have to start running trash 2.5, 3 days a week, but it could happen depending on how we want to do things. So anyway, that's just out there, so we don't wait till next April.
That's something we can address on August 20, or that meeting, water sewer.
That's fine,
Does the Muni Court send people anymore?
The last few I've had through Defiance Muni Court, it never works out. And the past couple that have supposedly been coming from Paulding.
Judge Roars, no, it doesn't work out? Probably
I know.
happy about that.
I can talk to the ladies down at the courthouse. They'll call and say, hey, we've got such and such. I'll say, yeah, if they can do this, that, the other thing, fine. Usually end up calling me back saying, it's not gonna work.
Have we ever thought about getting out of the refuse business?
Well, different options have been discussed over the years, so there again.
Well, I know the Water and Sewer Refuse Committee is worked to death. So I appreciate that, everybody's hard work on that committee. I would like the committee to consider that, and I have been trying to get prices on containers being dropped off at the recycling center for recyclables, but because people still want that. And if you are people that go to the recycling center, or if you are people that go to the county's site when they come, they have really become pretty stringent on what they'll take and what they won't. And there are lists, I believe, maybe out on the counter at the municipal doors, because they're not accepting dirty cans or dirty plastic, and they're only accepting certain numbers on your plastic, and they have really tightened up their standards of what they're going to take at the county recycling day. So
No.
across the street when they come to Grace United Methodist Church parking lot. So I guess if the committee wants to address, maybe drop containers at the recycling center, no different hours or anything, or days, just available. And then if you want to pursue continuing being in the refuge business, you can. And then,
You take a look.
and whether you want to do general pickups every week or still, like what I say, 4 times a year. So, thank you. Ken, anything else you want to add?
I guess the only thing would be if you have any questions about the letter from the EPA. Ron told me today you put together the response to both of those issues so that you can send back.
The only question I would have is, this document suggests that we did not notify the EPA for an extended period of time.
Try to regret that. I think I know, but I just
All
want
of
to
it is to send our outside lab or labs out, and it's usually 10 days to 2 weeks before we get results back from them. So that was part of the biggest delay on that. We have purchased the process control equipment that will help us catch it a lot sooner. So we've been doing
Well,
that.
that makes sense to me. Does the EPA, are they satisfied with that response?
Yes.
They've been very cooperative.
We're on first name basis with the EPA. They've been down there.
That's not good.
They've been down there numerous times, and they are very satisfied with what we've been doing to get everything back in control. I just talked to the compliance unit officer we've been dealing with today, and he's very pleased with the numbers that we're showing. When we do the reports, I'll take pictures of them and I'll text him the test results. And I've been doing that for the last 2 months, during his process, and he's very happy with the progress that we're making. So, real close.
You'll be getting a couple hefty bills one of these days, but it's going to be related to trying to solve that problem down there. We've had a lot of tanks sucked out.
2 weeks ago, we got some extra bills for
that
bugs.
was small. That was small. That's scary. Well, I'm just giving you a heads up so you don't faint, but it'll probably be at least one real good size. But no, I said the EPA is very happy with what Ron and Jeff have been doing to get us back in compliance.
Anything else, Kent? I'd like to just thank Ron Daniels for his years of service and congratulations on his retiring, and we appreciate the fact that he's sticking around till October 1st to give us some time to get someone else hired also.
Is that going to be his last day? Does he have vacation before that?
I didn't know.
First is actually Saturday.
But he's going to work till then.
Yeah, on paper. I'm not
Just
asking
curious.
Mike if he'll take the last week off.
I don't know either.
This sounds like we're covered.
Well, we're going to the solicitor's report, which looks like it doubled in size overnight.
Cheryl's been busy.
So,
She added a bunch of resolutions that are standard ones that we have to do every year to get straight with people. First thing on the fire levy, you might have noticed, due to a snafu, we didn't end up on the ballot this time. It's a misunderstanding between Cheryl and I. I'm not going to put the blame either place, but there were two things that had to be done after we passed our resolution. One was information had to be provided to the auditor's office. The other one was the certified copy of the resolution had to be sent down to the Board of Elections to get on the ballot by a certain date, which passed last week. And then Cheryl had asked me, the way I interpreted it was if I would drop off the materials to the auditors, because I have people from my office that go there every day, and I guess I just presumed that she was sending the document off to the Board of Elections. As it turns out, she was thinking that I was doing both of that, and the wires got crossed, so unfortunately, we didn't get it there, so we're not going to appear on the ballot this time. We can pass another resolution and be on the ballot, I believe, in March would be the next time. So for my part in that, I apologize for that. Like I said, it was a misunderstanding, and I'll take my portion of the blame on it for sure. As far as the petition on the speed limit, the last time we were here, there was a number of people that were present that wanted to address the speed limit on that section of Spencerville between High and Arthur Street. I did some research the next day, and I don't know who all I sent the email to. I know Diane and Kent at least. The speed limits on all the roads are set by the Ohio Revised Code, and it has to do with the way the roads are classified. And so ODOT is actually responsible for those. If you want to change a speed limit that's been set, you have to have a traffic study done, by an appropriate engineer, and then once those results come back, if they support the need for the change, then you have to petition the director of ODOT basically to change it, and it's really discretionary. If he thinks it's appropriate based on your traffic study, he can go ahead and do that. Kent contacted the gentleman from ODOT from the district in Lima that we're in, and basically followed up, and he confirmed that part, but he also questioned, he said sometimes you don't have to do that because sometimes the speed limit on a particular street, when set, maybe wasn't set appropriately according to the type of road it is. I did a bunch of research on the definitions of the roads and everything, and my understanding, I think that speed limit is correctly set according to the Ohio Revised Code, because that falls, and I'm going to forget the term, it was either, I think it's through highway, because it goes from its location clear outside of town. It's not a side street like Smith Street or Arthur Street or anything, and that's why the 35-mile-per-hour limit is prescribed by the revised code for any of those type of roads.
Do we do a traffic study, or does the state do it?
We would have to do it and pay for it, and then once the results came back, if it justified a change in the speed limit.
Where do you find such services?
I assume the engineering firms, I don't know, I mean, I assume the same ones we deal with on other issues that design things for us. I'm sure the county engineer could provide us with the information. But
I don't think he could.
Well, he couldn't do the study for us, but he might be able to provide us with the names of some people that could.
Oh, there's half a dozen.
Did we have that done before? About 12 years ago, 15. Do we have a study done?
I don't
No. I've not done any in my time.
Barry, would you like to make a comment?
Yeah, when we had the last meeting, like I said, 2 days later, they were going so fast down the road. They hit the speed limit sign, they damaged their car. Monty Ballinger has been down by the park entrance, and he has wrote out several tickets and on Chicago Avenue. But, okay, if that's true for 35 miles an hour, why was it changed? Years back, it was 25 miles an hour when my boy was here and addressed it at the meeting. Why was it changed then?
I could only speculate, but my guess is if it was, it might have been something to do along the lines of what the gentleman from ODOT suggested, is maybe when they realized when it had originally been classified as 25 that wasn't appropriate for that area, but it's just guessing.
Well, going on out, when I lived on Spencerville Street, he had it down to 35 and he raised it to 45 for the same reason. He said it was not inappropriate to have it at 35, 45 was.
And that, if I'm not mistaken, what I recall is that was based on how many houses, how many homes, how many residences were on that stretch.
That's what I was told too.
So,
But every street in this town that ends up out in the country is 35.
right, which is what the definition of through highway or through roadway, that's what it basically encompasses.
Chicago's 25.
Right, all those little
It was
streets.
changed from 35 to 25,
Recently?
6 years ago.
Smith Street, Cornelia Street, I mean, all those streets like
So
that.
if
are all
we would just
25.
change the signs and then
Well,
the tickets wouldn't, legally we can't.
they could be challenged.
Yeah.
They could be challenged in court if it's not inappropriate. Because the speed limit, besides being set or whatever, that's, for lack of a better term, a suggestion of what the appropriate speed limit is based upon the type of roadway. But I think if you go away from what the revised code sets it as, you have to have justification for doing it.
So what we need to decide is whether we want to have a traffic study or not.
Correct.
That's
You wanna
the
pay
limit of what we
for-
can do.
And have a traffic study done, and then it'd just be waiting for the results. And you may pay for it, and the results may come back, and it may not be enough to justify, in their opinion, a change, which would mean you'd have no chance probably with ODOT. But if it comes back and they say, whatever the study results are, and we think it's appropriate to change the speed limit in this, on this section of roadway, then you'd have to submit that information to the ODOT director and basically appeal to him to change that. And then if he gives the okay, we could go ahead and change it and change the signage.
So, and this is just for my own clarification, this throughway or whatever the language is the state uses, they have no consideration for churches or schools or bus stops or how many homes or how many
Not in the
children.
definition, no. It all has to do with kind of, there's a couple of things. There was a section of it that talked about if it goes a certain distance without a stop sign on it, and all of the intersecting side roads have stop signs. That goes into the through highway business. There was about 2 or 3 different elements to the
And it's
definition.
not volume of counting cars, it's strictly how many drives and houses. Okay.
That's my understanding. So that would be the decision to be made, was do we want to pay for and do stuff.
So should the Street and Light Committee meet to decide whether they want to bring full council a decision to do that or not?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Find out how much the stuff
Street.
is.
We had talked about, the police chief and the committee as far as police and fire. Several months ago, when we were budgeting monies, about one of those monitoring systems, like in Bryan, they're in some small towns around, and when you're going into town, it tells the people what your speed limit is. And it'll tell you how fast you're going, and automatically when you see blue lights and red lights, it forces you to slow down. And the chief and I have talked about that several times, and I think maybe we should get together and maybe look at that again. And it might be just something around different places, like out by the cemetery, when people are coming in, make people conscious of the fact, hey, we need to slow down. And we're all guilty of driving too fast sometimes. But then again, that might send the right signal, and they aren't that expensive, so it's something to consider. That's just my take on it. We can spend money on these surveys and lose money because maybe they won't change.
Right.
Street light property, me, you,
Beverly, Headley, and Barth,
before we all leave tonight.
if this is up to date.
Okay.
When?
We will set something up
You'll
tonight.
set a meeting up?
Meeting.
Okay, all right.
Now, as far as the legislation, ordinance 2016-10, third reading by caption only, an ordinance amending section 521.11 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio to amend the regulations regarding recreational fires.
So moved.
What are you voting on?
The third reading.
Third reading. We
Uh,
passed the motion first, right? Overvote.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you're gonna have a first and a second and then vote on it.
I would second that. I would like some clarification. A no vote would mean that we stay the same.
Correct.
Is there any discussion? Council members have any questions or discussions before we take this third and final vote? Roll call, please.
Wait, is this,
This is just a,
Either up or down.
Third reading.
This is whether we do it or not. Okay.
right, it's third reading, yeah.
This is saying whether we're gonna burn 5 to 1 or not.
Correct.
I don't agree with, if we had a discussion, I just don't agree with that
I
time.
don't either.
I vote no. No 5 to 1. And I appreciate everybody that came forward. There's a lot of work, and I appreciate Shelley coming out. But we cannot.
abstain.
Why?
I've got a conflict of interest
Jones?
where I'm
Yes.
employed.
Headley,
No.
Beverly,
No, I can't.
Mike Mark.
Nope.
Thank you, Cheryl. And I might just add to the ordinance committee, if you think that there's some way to change this ordinance to help, relook at it, if you think.
I'm not on the ordinance committee, Mayor, but I definitely don't think we should just let it drop here. We've got to find some happy medium for everyone.
Well, I'd like to see at least enforced when we have to.
Well, I think our police department enforces that. And I think the time frame would probably put more burden on the police department. I don't think it could have been, you couldn't have probably taken care of the issues. But talking to the police chief just for a little bit, I think leaving it alone for now is probably the right call.
What is the fine, excuse me,
Go ahead.
I said, what is the fine if they're burning out of control, burning, is there a fine?
It's a minor misdemeanor, it's a $150 fine, up to a $150 fine.
But I think there's like one warning and then we enforce.
We have to do the one.
You don't have to, no. I mean, I think that's just been general policy. And
that's
you
something.
educate people about the rules, give them a warning, and then if they just blatantly violate them after you've told them, then you go and write them a ticket.
And our police chief has indicated that the times that he has been out, of course, it's case by case, but people have worked well with him, and I don't see a problem with it. But I still feel as though we have to be good to the people that want to burn,
that's right.
and we have to be good. We have to work something out for the nice owners. Somewhere there's got to be something that can make a happy medium.
Everybody needs to be respectful of their neighbors.
Exactly.
And I would go along with the mayor's suggestion, revisit this and take a look at what we're doing.
There's other options, Okay, thank you, Troy.
Ordinance 2016-11, third reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing the village fiscal officer to transfer funds.
Me, I so move on that. This is for the police pension? So move.
I second. Go ahead.
Roll call, please.
McCrasky?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Then next would be resolution 2016-13, which is a second reading by caption only, a resolution of the village of Hicksville, Ohio, authorizing the sale of a 1999 Ford cargo van which is unneeded, obsolete, or unfit. You still need this to go forward. I know you were talking to some.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it can come back for a third.
Okay. Then next would be resolution 2016-14, a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Is this an increase or?
Our tax levies have remained the same. We
Does
do,
need to be an emergency.
yeah, we do need to pass this tonight because
Second.
Ron Beverly made a motion to suspend the rules. Ron Jones seconded. Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McCrasky?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
So second, third reading resolution 2016-14 by caption only, resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
So move.
Second. Go ahead.
Is there any discussion?
Take it for a second.
Excuse me, ma'am?
I just wonder if there's any discussion or questions about this. Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Questions?
Mark?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
McCrasky?
Yes.
Next is resolution 2016-15, a first reading by caption only, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, directing the Defiance County Auditor to assess and enter the delinquent water and sewer bills on the tax duplicate of the properties described in Exhibit A and declaring an emergency. The emergency being we got to get it to the auditor so they can get them on the tax bills.
This is not very long this year.
Yeah.
I move we suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McCrasky?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Second, third reading of resolution 2016-15 by caption only, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, directing the Defiance County Auditor to assess and enter the delinquent water and sewer bills on the tax duplicate of the properties described in Exhibit A and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
McCrasky?
Yes.
Resolution 2016-16, first reading by caption only, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, directing the Defiance County Auditor to assess and enter the delinquent cost of weed and grass mowing on the tax duplicate of the properties described in Exhibit A and declaring an emergency.
Yes.
Mayor, I thought we already did this, or do we have to renew it every year?
Have to do
We
it
have
every
to
year.
redo it every year. These are the properties that we mowed
Properties.
in the past year.
Okay.
But what does the VC mean?
Village crew,
Oh, okay,
not Viet Conging, but
okay.
it's just shorthand for who mowed it. I mean, because sometimes we had an outside person mow years back.
Okay,
And that's why we wait till this time to do it, so that we make sure that we got them, as many as we can, because if not, then we'll have to wait all the way till next year before we can put it back.
So is this list up to date
As of today.
as of today? Okay.
Suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kratzky?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes. Second and third reading of Resolution 2016-16 by caption only, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, directing the Defiance County Auditor to assess and enter the delinquent cost of weed and grass mowing on the tax duplicate of the properties described in Exhibit A and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Kratzky?
Yes.
Beverly?
Resolution 2016-17, first reading by caption only, a resolution to enter into an agreement with the Defiance County Commissioners for the recovery of monies expended for providing legal counsel to indigent persons for the calendar year 2017. And then Resolution 2016-18, first reading by caption only, a resolution to assess streetlight millage and declaring an emergency.
Will we keep it the same?
Yes, it was 2 mil last year, keeping it at 2 mil this year.
I would move to suspend the rules on 2016-18.
I'll second.
That's first reading, right? So we need to,
Right.
okay. We need to make a motion on first reading or go at.
So that's why he moved to suspend the rules. Is what he moved.
So do we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules? Roll call, please.
Kratzky?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Second and third reading, Resolution 2016-18 by caption only, a resolution to assess streetlight millage and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? It's the same as last year, 2 mil. Roll call, please.
Kratzky?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
The only other thing I had is we're coming up, I think, pretty close to when they're gonna start on the Antwerp Drive project, and we had to tweak one of the easements and stuff, and I just gave that to Kent today, but I think everything else, Mike Bailey's been working on all that.
We're still waiting to hear from the farm.
In the barn, okay.
Okay, thank you. Chief Scott Kramer.
I'd like to thank everybody that came out to the breakfast last Saturday. Good turnout. And I'd like a recommendation from the mayor to place Tiffany Ballmer on the fire department.
Well, I think that's wonderful. Tiffany Ballmer wants to be on the fire department, and I would recommend that we put her on the fire department.
I would move we accept the mayor's recommendation.
I would get right behind him on that. Thank you, Tiffany.
She has had physical instruction in the last year, so is she gonna need to do that again, or are we okay?
Cheryl's already,
Boy, she's current.
it's only been 7 months since she had her last one. Cheryl said she's good to go.
But she's a current employee, isn't she?
That doesn't always matter. So we have, roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes.
Kratzky?
Yes.
And that brings us up to 31 on the fire department.
Great.
Wonderful. Great, thank you, Scott.
Thank you for stepping
You
up.
guys are doing a good job. All right, EMS Chief Lonnie, you have anything for us?
Just a reminder that with the fair starting on Saturday, the EMS is going to have extra hours for manpower. We're going to be covering the events down at the fairgrounds as well as our 911 system.
You and I had discussed the fact that you were going to talk to the fair board to see if they were paying for some of the extra hours you were covering. How'd that turn out?
I have not heard back from Jerry Sanders yet. He was supposed to present it to the fair board to see about getting a donation to the rescue squad to cover that.
So you feel you have plenty of help to
Yeah.
cover the fair and our village?
Yes. I went through and made out the schedule of what needs to be covered for the village and for the fair events, and we have everything covered right now.
Great, thank you.
Ronnie, what's your staff at right now?
12.
12. So quite a few of the hours being covered.
Yes.
We appreciate all of our volunteers.
Thank
That's
you.
a big commitment. Thank you so much. Park Director Valerie Shaw, don't go to sleep back there. Do you have anything for us to update us on the park?
Well, everything's going way down, but the pool will close Friday.
Pool's closing Friday for the season. Everybody better get in, take their last jump in. So in Fort Wayne, the dogs get to swim in the pool the last day. I think that sounds kind of fun. Take your dogs the last day, well, not the last day for the kids, the last day's for the dogs.
How many days did we end up opening the pool to the public?
Free, you mean?
Yeah.
I think there maybe one or two, we were closed,
Couple free days because of the temperatures?
but most of them had passes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like things went pretty smoothly at the park and the pool this year, and so,
Another job well done.
yep, great season. Things look good. Yep, thank you. Okay, fiscal officers report.
Month-to-date, year-to-date cash statement. And the second page is the July municipal report. Page 3 is the July revolving loan fund report. Anyone have any questions about that?
Thanks for that.
The brick house has been sold. We have a letter from MediaCom, and I think it goes to all the residents too, if they're having rate hikes. We have the State of Ohio Division of Liquor Control list of all the licenses that are in Hicksville's village limits. The annual back-to-school breakfast at the school is coming up, and anyone who wants, any of the councilmen who want to go to it, let me know so that I can add it all.
For the school, you said.
Back-to-school breakfast.
Put me in also, Cheryl, please.
I think I told you I am going.
And me too.
Anybody else?
Got a question on the liquor licenses. Does that money all go to the state? Do we get any of that?
But it goes to the state first.
Right.
Very small. I was just curious, a lot of money there for a license.
It's 2,300.
I think it's always interesting to see who got a liquor license.
Yeah.
You know,
We gave ours back. Just $2,300. Sold a few drinks.
And you didn't get this, I'm sure, but on your first agenda, I wrote that the lunch was 1:30. It's not, it's 11:30. If you come at 1:30, you'll be kind of late. Sorry. It's 11:30.
and we're having a potluck with the employees and stuff, so council, you're welcome to come. Just inviting the volunteers
Is
and...
that all you're gonna have, is just sweet relish, tomato, and or ketchup and...
Whatever you bring.
Processed.
Well, the mayor's turning hot.
So, volunteers, and you guys can get the word out there to your department, employees.
And my final item was the Cloverdale, which kind of goes to show you, people don't know where Hicksville is. I never heard of Cloverdale, but they sure got in a whole lot of trouble. But I don't want to get in.
It seems like they went after the money lady and the mayor.
And it's personal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's personal.
Yeah. If I did this, just like she did, you have to write a check. Okay, I wanna-
Personal check.
Save up.
Oh, no, no.
Something like that.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Things aren't good in Cloverdale. There's a friend of mine down there that's in trucking and construction, and he had internal revenue while they had that.
Aw. All right, going on to the mayor's stuff. Bill, you gave us a rather lengthy report last time. Do you have anything to add to that about the...
Basically, we had a board meeting on Saturday. It was very brief. One of the things that the board approved purchasing headset microphones for our sports broadcast. I mentioned that because when we get those delivered, The technician will need to come out to adjust it and put the proper connections on to be able to use our system. So once we place that, we're going to see if I can combine that service call with the service call I talked about to have him look over our system here.
Okay.
So we can maybe kill two birds with one stone, and then we'll see what he can come up with, and then based on his recommendations, then I'll put out some feelers to see if I can get a couple people to come in and look, give us some quotes about upgrading the microphones here. I've heard some feedback that the live broadcasts are better, and the sound is okay, but there are certain people that are harder to hear than others, so we're thinking we might look at a system where it's a microphone for each individual. But hopefully that'll be coming together within the next few weeks, and by the end of the month, we'll have something more concrete to talk about.
Okay. We'll look forward to getting your board minutes. Thanks, Bill. Okay, I sent out an email to council because a couple years ago, you were agreeable to me having the asbestos tile removed in the hallway and replaced. Just improvements to the building to help the appearance of the building and safety of the building, because the tile is breaking and cracking in some places, all stained up some places. And we also talked about putting handicap doors at the front of the back of the building and making it more accessible to people. I heard back from a couple of you, but the majority of you I did not hear back. I would like this, there's $16,000 in the budget to do this, to do the improvements, but if we do the hallway, floor and stuff, I'd like to get a fresh coat of paint on there when that was done years ago. I mean, I painted my own offices. A lot of us have painted our own offices. I'm not talking about making any improvements to any of the offices, just front doors, hallway. You know, we've always had cold air coming in those doors in the wintertime because they don't seal all the way. We've tried putting some foam in there in the wintertime to try to keep the cold out, whatever. But I'd like this to go to the Streetlight and Building Committee if they don't mind, and just discuss this project. And typically, Kent Miller could just do that on his own because he can do that, but I think he would like council to be okay with what he does. So I told him to do it.
Then maybe doing something in 2 months from now, find out, get other plans.
So anyway, I'd like that to go to the committee if you would. And then the last thing that I really have is, well, there's going to be a revolving loan committee meeting Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And I think everybody's been notified that they can make that. And then there's a request from the Defiance County Fair Board that I think is turned over to the Water Sewer Committee again.
Correct.
You guys are getting a lot of information. So, with all that information that we discussed tonight, we made a lot of progress. Does anyone in the audience have anything that they would like to ask or comment about or whatever? Ask. Okay, well, we have nothing. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your interest in the community. And I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would make that motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Can I real quick thank the Chamber for Summerfest?
Absolutely, that's a good idea.
Downtown festival with the car show and the food, and a lot of people participated in it. I think, trying to bring people downtown and activities and make kids games and stuff. I think they did a good job. A lot of different, I think the fire department was part of it. The police were up there helping, and I think a lot of people came together. And
I'm glad you remembered to do that. It was a good community event put on by the Chamber. It was fun. Thank you. Thanks to all who worked at that.
I'll second Mr. Headley. You have something, ma'am? Oh, I second Mr. Headley.
Mr. Picture.
We have a first and a second to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Carr?
yes.
Everly?
Yes.
Headley?
Yes?
You know what the little kid said, don't you?
Yes.
You're next.